She doesn't like these children. She doesn't like being around them at all. And she actually refused to sit with them for the interview with Deadline, but the director fronted up instead. So shame on Meghan. The shocking truth about Meghan Markle's so-called cookie queens is being revealed after a disastrous appearance at the Sundance Film Festival. And it's no surprise, really, that it seems Meghan has no idea about the truth of the film that she is promoting, given that she decided to buy it without actually having anything to do with its production. But of course, Meghan's behaviour towards the children themselves is also being exposed. Look at this from the red carpet, where she really did prove that she don't like these children. She's not at all interested about being around these children. And actually what she likes is the very quick pose for a selfie. Watch this.
Dan is joined tonight by Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind Angela Levin to break down the growing fallout from Meghan Markle's much talked about appearance at the Sundance Film Festival. What was billed as a high-profile Hollywood moment has instead triggered a wave of criticism, with footage circulating that has raised uncomfortable questions about audience turnout, tone, and overall impact. Together, we examine what really happened inside the room, why this appearance has landed so badly with critics and royal watchers, and what it means for the Sussexes standing in Hollywood at a time when credibility and public perception matter more than ever. Angela Levin brings her insider perspective to separate PR spin from reality and explain why this moment may prove more damaging than first appeared. If you want independent royal analysis you won't get from the mainstream media, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and let us know in the comments. Was this just an awkward appearance or a sign of deeper problems for the Sussex brand?
Can I get a photo? Oh my gosh, amazing! Thank you so much!
And she's gone in a flash. But lots of reporting out of Utah after this car crash appearance where Meghan and Harry couldn't even fill the theatre. Shoot a scoop, revealing that Harry and Meghan have stepped in it again, leaving the girl guides fuming. He writes, according to Festival Whispers, the couple enthusiastically backed Cookie Queens, a glossy feel-good documentary that follows young girls selling cookies. Cute, absolutely. Complicated, oh yes, because viewers say beneath the sprinkle lies a less adorable truth. Parents footing hefty bills, kids coached to be extra charming, and pressure dressed up as empowerment. They literally cannot help themselves. They always step in it. One festival goer sniped afterwards. Another attendee didn't mince words. I honestly don't think they watched the documentary. And Shooter says this is where the optics get sticky. For a couple famously vocal about protecting children, critics say the film quietly exposes a system that feels off. It's exploitation hiding in plain sight, a source told me. And the Sussexes seemed completely clueless that the film showed that. Now comes the fallout. Insiders claim girl guides are fuming, feeling exposed and blindsided by the royal seal of approval. This was not the endorsement they expected. One source says they feel thrown into a spotlight they didn't ask for. Another insider summed it up best: everything they touch turns controversial. That's not a bad thing if it's intentional. This time, it clearly wasn't. And there is so much to go at in terms of this movie, but also in terms of the premiere itself. Obviously, the Sussex squad hit back and said, no, there were not empty seats. There were no empty seats. Well, what explains this picture, which was actually taken from the premiere, showing a massive chunk of empty seats? And you know Harry's unhappy. I mean, Nancy Sidley got it right when you could see this picture, which was actually taken from behind during the screening. But she said, you can feel Prince Harry's misery. And you can. It absolutely seeps out from that photo. Yet, as Nancy also pointed out, when they are in public, it is a performative nightmare, as you can see from that awkward hand-holding. Now, I think perhaps what's most damning for Meghan Markle, of course, is that even though she has tried to paint this movie as not only being cute, but being based on feminist empowerment, it looks like Netflix actually passed on the documentary entirely because its message simply wasn't that. New reporting now from Paula Frolic, who writes, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are shopping their new dog Cookie Queens, a film The Hollywood Reporter described as saccharine sweet, meaning Netflix has passed on the movie. Despite this, the Sussexes still showed up at the Sundance screening, smiling, clapping and basking in praise. Markle, a former scout herself, revealed her favourite Girl Scout cookie, Thin Mints naturally, and gushed that the film was not just adorable, but one of the most meaningful and powerful depictions of American tradition. But what tradition is she talking about? Selling cookies or getting into debt? Because beneath the bows, badges and big smiles, Cookie Queens tells a far more uncomfortable story, one that some audience members aren't convinced the Sussexes fully grasped. As one Redditor who attended the screening put it, I was at the morning Sundance screening. I'm not sure the Sussexes understand the film. While the girls are adorable and their stories touching, the documentary shows significant exploitation by the Girl Scouts organisation. The commentator went on to note that parents are required to front the money for cookie inventory before a single box is sold, something sometimes thousands of dollars worth. One family featured in the film reportedly struggled to pay in advance for more than 2,000 boxes of cookies so their daughter could try to win a trip to camp they otherwise couldn't afford. Another girl, this is the so-called Cookie Queen, racked up sales almost entirely online through a website built and managed and promoted by her parents, complete with videos of the child cheerfully pitching cookies. The girls are coached to upsell, to charm, to lean into cuteness because cuteness sells. For the Harkles, who claim deep concern about child exploitation, this feels like an odd film to associate with, but I'm sure the nuances were utterly lost on them. However, the Hollywood Reporter, the trade Bible, very important in this business, given that Meghan and Harry can't sell this film, didn't miss the nuances. Its review notes that girls can age out of cookie selling once they're no longer considered cute, effectively training children to understand that their appeal is temporary and transactional. As the reviewer bluntly observed, the film's lesson is inseparable from late-stage capitalism. Cuteness, like beauty for older women, is a commodity, one the possessor can exploit to their advantage. At the same time, the girls seem to have absorbed that guilt-tripping potential customers as part of the game. In other words, smile and sell, and don't forget to weaponize pity. And here's the kicker, Cookie Queens hasn't even been sold. Despite Harry and Meghan's first look deal, Netflix passed. The film is still being shot by WME, an independent film, meaning the streaming giant that once bet big on the Sussexes quietly passed. Cute perhaps? Powerful? That depends on whether you see it as a heartwarming portrait of American hustle or a glossy tutorial and how early capitalism trains girls to monetize themselves. And look, the reason that I think it was so important to get into all of that is because, of course, Harry and Meghan are acting as if this was a film appearance, a Sundance Film Festival appearance, because they'd won something. When indeed the reason they are having to pimp themselves out is because they can't even sell this movie. And the Oscar-style speech from Meghan Markle made no sense. She has given one interview to the Hollywood trade magazine Variety, who did a piss-poor job, I have to tell you, even though this was an interview conducted on Zoom. But I will take you through it and the key moments. It's headlined, What Meghan Markle Learned About Business from Being a Girl Scout. And Meghan says, what's so fantastic about the experience of being a Girl Scout, and my mum was my troop leader as well, is I don't think you understand just how impactful all of those tools that you're learning are going to carry through in your life later on outside of the community building. What I love about what Alyssa did, that's the director of the film, bringing this film to life, is it gives such an objective point of view about girlhood, humanity, but also how they're leveraging technology, how they're learning microfinance, financial independence. All of these elements that are baked in, dare I say, to the tradition of the Girl Scouts cookie season. So Meghan is very much now aware of this criticism and trying to say, oh, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Okay, then. The question from Variety was, with two of the subjects being from California, Meghan, did watching them make you nostalgic? She replies, yes, without question, especially now as a mother of a daughter. There's a very different lens that you're witnessing it through. And of course, being reminiscent of my own experience of having been a Girl Scout in California, I love how varied and diverse the casting is. I love that you see some of these families and what they're sacrificing to give their daughters these opportunities. And on the flip side, some daughters were pushing themselves much more than their parents would ever push them, and how that's ingrained so early on. You see how multidimensional these young girls are, but also the dads. And this is interesting because it's when she speaks about Harry and how she thinks Harry performs as a father. You get to see an image of fatherhood that I think is really powerful to have depicted in this day and age. So outside of mothers and daughters and granddaughters, but every single role that you can play in a young girl's life that's going to empower and able to her to be strong women, and the role that fathers can play in that, it's just so great. And that's how my husband is with Lily. It's a beautiful piece to include in the filmmaking, which Alyssa made a point to have there. The interviewer then goes on to ask, what did you learn from producing the series in terms of audiences' appetite for lifestyle programming? Now, that's speaking about With Love Meghan, which of course has been a complete disaster, didn't even make the top 1,000. But Meghan can't ever admit that she's got something wrong. So she goes back to the one success that she's ever had in her career, which was the D-list cable drama she appeared in before meeting Harry. And she says, Suits was 7 years for me. And then doing With Love Meghan was 17 episodes of television in a year with pre- and post-production. It is such an undertaking, and it makes me have even more respect for creatives who are throwing themselves into this every single day. From my standpoint, it's an industry that I grew up in and I know really well. And at the same time, it is such an exciting opportunity as an adult to find something that piques curiosity at every turn and to continue to remind each other how we can be creative, how we can work as a team, how dedicated a crew is. Building trust with the subjects of the film and their families, it's multifaceted, but I'm just excited to continue to explore and play and have fun. So let's just note there that there was absolutely no acknowledgement that With Love Meghan has been a disaster, that she's pivoting, that she's going to do something else. It's typical Meghan Markle. Total delusion, I would argue, but it's really terrible that Variety magazine did not even press her on what is a business reality. The final question from Variety was about her return to acting. They said, speaking of fun, you just returned to acting with a cameo in the Amazon movie Close Personal Friends with Lily Collins and Brie Larson. How much fun was that? So come on. I mean, you just know this is a propaganda interview. But Meghan replies, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, but that's just the point, right? We continue to explore different ways to uplift and celebrate the entertainment industry and all the incredible pieces of work that are out there that people work so hard on. Cookie Queen's being one of them. So she's pivoted back. This is such an important piece of cinema to be able to share with people, and I just know people are going to love it the same way you and I do. So what Meghan Markle is effectively trying to say there is that she is now an entertainment whore. That she's literally going to slut herself around whichever part of the entertainment industry wants her, and that this is part of a strategy? Are you kidding me? Is anyone buying this? Because I'm certainly not. And there was something else I wanted to show you from the weekend that's new and really horrified me. And it's the fact that Meghan refused to sit down with the Cookie Queens themselves, the young kids. You saw, I mean, let's just look at her on the red carpet again very quickly. You saw just from this moment that she doesn't like these children. She doesn't like being around them at all. And she actually refused to sit with them for the interview with Deadline, but the director fronted up instead. So shame on Meghan, because I would argue this could have been a cute moment, actually. And good Lord, she's looking for a cute moment after the disaster of Sundance thus far. But she didn't. But I want you to listen out for something which stood out for me immediately. These young girls who are Americans have been clearly ordered to refer to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, not by their names, not by their common names, not by their American names, Meghan and Harry, but using their royal titles. I found it very off-putting. Watch this.
And so what do you all think about having royal people involved in your documentary and supporting you?
It feels like crazy.
Like, am I dreaming?
I always read them in my books, like the princesses and the kings, and then I actually get to meet one.
When I first found out that I was meeting the Duke and Duchess, I was like, are you serious? Are you sure? But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so stoked.
It's just crazy to me because me and my parents watched their documentary on Netflix and now they've watched me. That's just crazy.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And I think they're just as excited to meet you guys as you are to meet them. And it's been really a feeling of genuine connection. So I hope that that's something that also audiences will feel with these girls, like to be able to see themselves in your stories. So it's really courageous that you're putting yourselves out there like that.
And that would have been cute if it had been Meghan sitting there, but she wasn't. So they decided to ask the kids about her.
There's royalty in the title, Cookie Queens. Yeah. There's royalty behind the scenes. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Tell us about that, how they got involved.
Yeah. So Cookie Queens is a totally independent documentary, independently financed and produced. And we actually started at Sundance through the Catalyst program and got support from the Sundance Doc Film Fund and have an incredible group of executive producers. And most recently, that includes Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and their production company, Archwell Productions, and their whole really wonderful and supportive team. So we're excited. Meghan was a Girl Scout herself, actually in the same Girl Scout council as Nikki and Nala. Yes, in Los Angeles when she was a kid. Her mom was her troop leader. And so the connection with our film is very personal and very genuine. And she has been super supportive, all of them at Archwell. And so we're excited that that gives us potentially a bigger platform and audience to share this message with the world. I think they understand that the film is both about Girl Scouts and cookies, but also about something bigger and more universal around coming of age.
Now, we know that Meghan had snapped on the red carpet to a Deadline reporter when he dared to ask about her own daughter joining the Girl Scouts, which is such an obvious softball